Okay, hello and welcome. Thank you everyone for joining today. This is our weekly Fierce Friday Million Mom Movement Zoom. My name is Carmela Velarde. I am a Blue Diamond with the company Purium, and I'm very excited today to bring to you another wonderful interview. I'm very excited actually. We have a business forward last Friday of the month focus. And that's what we're going to continue to do. So if you want to put that on your calendar too, to really have that as a focus for all the recipients, all the scholarship recipients, the sponsors, and to bring on anyone who is really interested to learn more about economic empowerment. This is what we're all about, and we have a lot to share today. So at Fierce Friday, this weekly call started as the birth child of Stephanie Dawn, our chair and mentor here. She is also Blue Diamond in the company. And Amy Benner had created this Million Mom movement, which really is a movement of many. So we're caregivers, we're fathers, we're aunties and uncles. We are people who care about the future and the future of our health and wellness. And we have so much in store for you today. The Million Mom movement is of 1,000 people, caregivers, movement of many, in 100 communities committed to spreading health and well-being to at least 10 people, to impact the lives of others through our lifestyle, through our word, our inspiration. And we're going to start, I'm going to get right into it. I would love to stand up for what we are all about. And we are taking a stand against the toxicants in our environments to educate and to empower all those who are coming on to learn more about how they can be part of our movement. And what we always love to share is that we all matter. We're all here making a difference. And if you don't think you matter, you're wrong. You are here and we need you. We believe in you. And we want to continue to grow this community. So if you see the numbers rising, it's because we are doing the work. We're doing the good work of organizing and sharing. So please share more and care more about your neighbors, how important this information will be to them. So I'd love to start by sharing our pledge. And I see some of my council members on here, and they are starting from the top, Stephanie Dawn, who's our chair. And I see Jody Parker. Nieva Flores not here today, but they are the three who had comprised the beginning of our council. And then Taz Pereira, she is also here, along with Rebecca Johns, and she's away for the day. But we comprise the council, and we're committed to you. So I'd love to pass the mic over to Jody Parker in Colorado, who is a Green Diamond, and she is going to share with us what we stand for and what our pledge is.
Thank you, Carmela. Good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful, clear, look at that sky day here in sunny Colorado, and I homeschool my children, so here I am at the homeschool weekly play date. And I am going to share our pledge with you. And part of that pledge is, taking care of our family, right? Which is why I'm here at the park doing this live. But here is the pledge of the Million Mom Movement. I pledge to defend the health of my family and of myself. I pledge to reject GMOs, artificial ingredients, trans fats, and overprocessed foods. I pledge to educate myself, read labels, and lead by example. Oops, sorry, I'm on a phone and it just went out. Okay. I understand that my actions today will positively impact health of future generations. I am committed to sharing this mission until we are 1 million moms strong. And so we are well on our way to that here at the Million Mom Movement. And that is in great part because of our chair, Miss Stephanie Dawn, who is a Blue Diamond here. I know Carmela already mentioned that. but she is bringing on an amazing woman to talk to today. But we need to tell you that Stephanie is the one with all of the ideas and all of the pushing, and she is our biggest champion, and she holds us all accountable, and she helps each and every one of us here on the council and is always available to us and to all of you out there. She's an amazing mentor. She's highly skilled at all of this, and so I want to bring her on so she can move on with the main interview of the day. So Stephanie, come off mute.
Sweet. Thanks, Jody. Oh, it's so great to see you outside breathing fresh air. Enjoy your day in Colorado. Hi, Million Mom Movement community. I'm so excited to be here with you all today. This is one of my favorite days of the week. And being here with you all is just, yeah, it's right where I want to be. So I'm really excited about today's interview for several reasons. So those reasons are that the only way that we are going to grow this movement is by sharing what we know, by opening our mouths and talking to people and having conversations about really the crimes against humanity that are happening in our food supply every day by corporations that are driven by greed. I mean, let's just speak it all out very plainly. Okay, you can always count on that from me, to be very direct with you. So we have a crisis in our world. We have a crisis in the United States. As you have heard from Dr. Toby Rogers a couple weeks ago, there's an urgent need for us to detox our children. So the way that we grow the Million Mom Movement is through brand partners with Purium. So if you're not a brand partner with Purium, you want to get with the person that brought you here today at the end of Fierce Friday. And if you are a brand partner with Purium, then the power is in your hands to grow this movement. And I'm so excited to bring on Carrie Lynn Drinkwine, who's a blue diamond with the company, for the reasons that I've just mentioned, that she is, has created a successful organization within Purium, all while raising 5 children. And she actually ranked Blue Diamond while on maternity leave. So how about that? But there's another reason why I'm excited to speak to Carrie today. And that's a bit more personal. So last year at convention, Sarah Rhinelander introduced me to Carrie. She's like, I want you two to meet. And the minute I started chatting with Carrie, I knew that I needed to work with her because, as many of you know, I'm healing breast cancer naturally. And Carrie is one of those people in my life, one of the healers, one of the goddesses who has affirmed what I knew in my own being, that I could heal breast cancer naturally. And I worked with her at length last year. So Carrie is also, I want you to know, she has a bachelor's in nutritional science. She's a certified nutritionist, a clinical iridologist. She's a certified regenerative detox specialist, and she's also certified in Arvigo Maya abdominal therapy. And I can't remember exactly which state you're out of, Carrie, but without further ado, welcome to Fierce Friday.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. I'm so excited to be here and honored to be here to share my story. I'm from Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wonderful. Awesome. So you're often here in the capacity of attendee, which I really appreciate you showing up and really supporting the mission of the movement. It's been very meaningful to me for you to be here. And I'm curious to know, what does the Million Mom Movement mean to you? Why have you been showing up all these months to join us?
Well, I am a mother of 5. I said that right. It's 5. Which I, never anticipated, right? But I came from a background of being a very young mom in the beginning, and my first 2 children are from my ex-husband, and I did not have the knowledge that I have now on nutrition. So my first 2 kids I dealt with all the things: postpartum depression. I had, during pregnancy, I had edema, I had chronic inflammation, I had gestational diabetes. I had a really difficult labor and delivery. So I had all these things happening and I didn't know why. I had no answers. My son had eczema. I put steroid cream on him. I fed him Cheerios, you know, all these things. And to this day, my oldest has health issues and my youngest don't. Which is such a difference in what you can see in the power of what we put into our bodies. So I'm really, really passionate about, you know, no mom would knowingly harm their own child. So, you know, just like if a mom knows that there's poison in something they're handing to their child, they're not going to give it to them. You know, we have yuck stickers as parents, and we have these things that we label all around the house without realizing that some of the foods we're putting into their bellies are the most toxic. So that's where my passion comes from, is really helping parents understand that we don't have to have this level of suffering, and it is something that we can do something about.
Mm-hmm. Right, which you've pretty much dedicated your life to with your practice out there, yes? I mean, you help people every day.
Yes. So as a regenerative detox specialist and as a nutritionist, I help people with preventative care, autoimmune, cancer, basically regenerating what are considered to be non-curable conditions, but treatable. And I was one of those. I used to have lupus and Hashimoto. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia and chronic adrenal fatigue and what they called unexplained infertility when I was 30 years old. And I just couldn't take that to be my truth. It was devastating to me. I was like, how is this possible? I'm so young. How, you know, I eat well, I exercise every day, I do hot yoga, I bike, I walk, I run. Like I couldn't fathom what was wrong and how this happened to me. And so that really is what drove my deep passion. So my background is in my nutrition science and my holistic master's background. I was still sick with that knowledge. This is mainstream knowledge. And it wasn't until I found a regenerative detox specialist that helped me heal all of the ailments in my body. So when I found this knowledge, I knew that I had to seek out how to get more educated. So I went to school for regenerative detox. I went to school for craniosacral. I went to school for abdominal therapy. I continued to study soil research with Zach Bush. And that's where my eyes really opened wide, is not only is it what we're putting in our body, but it's the quality of what we're putting in our body. So it's not just eating fruits or vegetables, but are they organic? What kind of soil they come from? Do they have regenerative properties? Or do they contain everything that they need? And that's what really led me to here and to integrating Purium into my platform.
Yeah, cool. Let's go there. So you had access to so much in your practice and as a professional, and as someone who was, you know, on a healing path yourself, was working with people every single day. Why Purium? What was it for you that made you go, yes, I need this?
Yeah, so why Purium was, you know, after I started doing this research with Zach Bush, and I found myself, so I was actually 7 months postpartum with my daughter, Mila, and I was having, you know, a good experience in the sense that I wasn't dealing with inflammation. I wasn't dealing with like postpartum depression, but I was dealing with that depletion. I was seeing like 40 patients a week. I was working way too much. And really what happened in that case was my daughter actually, so in our journey to conception, we had 5 miscarriages, which was incredibly devastating. And throughout that process of trying to conceive, we learned a lot about my body, and we learned a lot, but we had also, when we conceived Mila, they told us that she wasn't going to live. And so it was an incredibly devastating thing. Like, wait, the one pregnancy that is holding on, and you're telling me she's not going to live. And they highly recommended that we terminate her. And it was really intense. And I had to dive deep into my being and trust that I was bringing her in. So through tons and tons and tons of medical testing, I won't even give you the dollar amount that we incurred over time. We found ourselves with a beautiful baby girl. They were completely wrong. She's delightful. She's vibrant blue eyes, super happy, healthy, full of joy. Probably the cutest thing you've ever seen, honestly. But we found ourselves in massive medical debt, and my car had broken down right before I gave birth to her. So we had to replace the engine. So even as a very well established practitioner with a good income, we found ourselves in a really bad place. And I had to go back to work 2 weeks postpartum. So I was working 2 weeks after having her with a baby strapped to me post C-section. And so by the time, she was 7 months old, my hair was falling out, my skin elasticity was going, I was just hopeless. I felt like breaking down in tears. And I had worked years to get where I am. Like I waitressed, I taught yoga, I ran the clinic during the day. I was piecing all these jobs together to make a full-time income. And I thought, like, as soon as I have enough clients to be able to work just holistic health, I've made it in the world. Like, that's really how I felt. I was like, I'll be so happy if that's all, if I can achieve that, then I'm great. And I did achieve that. And what I realized was that I had broken my own heart, and that I was so busy, I didn't have time for my kids, and my health was falling apart. My mental health, my physical health was falling apart because I was undernourished, overexhausted. And I don't know how I was undernourished because I was eating all organic. I was like, I eat all organic, I eat all plants, I don't eat acidic foods, I don't drink alcohol, I don't drink coffee. And I couldn't understand what the disconnect was. So I was feeling desperate and frustrated. And I would come home from the clinic from a 12, 14-hour day, and I'd be sitting at the dinner table with my laptop on my lap, trying to send out follow-ups. And I didn't, I was absentee parenting, and I was, making enough income, but I wasn't able to have enough income to actually take care of my kids and be home with them. So when I was introduced Purium to me, I really was looking at it actually from a lens of personal necessity, like this nutrition piece. When I learned about the soil, when I learned about this disconnect, the lights came on for me. And I was like, oh, this makes so much sense. So I'm eating the plants, but the plants don't have the vitamins and essential minerals that I need because the soil is depleted. Or they're being shipped around in refrigerated trucks forever. And by the time they get to me, they just don't have what they need in them. So I began being like, well, what is the solution? I don't know what it is. And I remember sitting down and meditating and sending out like a prayer, like, okay, there's got to be another way. There has to be another way to get into abundant living, to share regenerative health, to help people heal. And I just can't do it one person at a time anymore. Working a 70-hour work week and only helping, 7, 8 people in a day is kind of heartbreaking. And so the next day, Rita Jean, a dear friend of mine and my business mentor, just reached out to me to see how I was. Like, hey, mama, how are you? And she was probably the first person that have ever asked me how I was postpartum. Like, no, it's like when we're healers, people think you have it all together. It looks great. Like you're all shiny. Oh, they have a good income. They don't, I was probably the last person she thought needed this.
Right.
And it was exactly what I needed. So I spent the time researching the quality of Purium. I'm really a stickler. I don't do natural flavors. I don't do additives. I don't do anything. Like, it's got to be squeaky, squeaky, squeaky clean. And I couldn't find anything wrong with it. So I decided to give it a try for myself. And I ordered the kit. I did the $500 thing. And it was actually at a time where I didn't have $500. I actually had to check all of my credit card balances, and that's how strapped we were. And it makes me really emotional telling this story because we were in such a place of desperation. And my husband looked at me and I said, I had $503 open on a Capital One card. And this, I tell you, friends, is 17 months ago. And that's all I had. And I looked at him, I was like, this kid is $501. And that was our old sign up. And my husband said, do it. You have to do it. And I was like, what if something happens? What if we don't have groceries? He's like, then make your money back, figure it out. And he just planted that seed and gave me the permission to swipe that card. And so I just did it. I just trusted. I took a leap of faith. And here we are today. And I don't know, I'll let you drive from there. So that's what made me say yes, was a personal need and the quality of Purium.
Right. Wow. Incredible. Okay. So you love the products, you vetted them, they're amazing for you. What made you want to do the business? Like, help us with that, that bridge. because you already were utilizing your time, like you just said, 70 hours a week. So how did you fit Purium in?
I actually started with 1 hour a week. And when I had my connect call with Christina Aman, she said, well, what do you think you can actually give to your business? And I actually laughed and I said, maybe an hour a week. And she was like, a day? And I was like, a week? She responded so eloquently. She was like, great. Okay, here's what you're going to do with that hour. And that's how I started, was 1 hour a week, just reaching out to people, checking in on them, seeing how they're doing, seeing if it was, a fit. I would actually section out that into 15 minutes of reach out, 15 minutes of a social media post, 15 minutes of follow up. And that's really kind of how I went through. And that's all I had, because I was so tapped and so exhausted. But I started becoming a living poster. So people were like, what's different about you? Your skin looks great. Your hair looks great. Like, what's going on? Something's different about you. And that is really how it was, you become a magnet. And then I started being able to help more than one person at a time. Right. And from there, it's just continued to grow.
Right. So let's talk about how, you're a very gifted nutritionist and healer in all the ways that we just mentioned. I forgot to mention yoga, actually. You're a yoga teacher too. Multifaceted. So you are in the dollars for hours paradigm, though, when you're doing that. I was there too as a business coach. And you don't get paid when you don't show up, right? So you've made this gorgeous segue into working in Purium and having a Blue Diamond organization. How are you balancing it all now in terms of your clinic hours and working Purium?
Yeah, good question. So I'm not going to lie, it's intense. It's a lot, but I will tell you that I was able to go from 6.5 days a week in the clinic to 3 days a week in the clinic.
Wow.
So I was working every single day, and then my half day off was spent doing inventory, restocking herbs and follow-ups and all of that. So I've cut my physical clinic hours in half. I'm actually now here Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. That's it. And I have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday completely off. I could financially at this point leave the clinic. I could just say, I'm good, because I finally have matched my clinic income. So that is like, after all the bills and all the things that I spend money on to run my business, after all the costs, my gross has now been matched. Like what I'm coming home with has now been matched. And that, if I just wanted to keep living the way I was living, I would just retire. But I have big dreams. So I'm going to keep doing both for a little bit, because I do love what I do. I do love helping people heal on this level. But now I'm very decisive and picky with who I actually am working with. And I have an intern and I have an assistant now, and I have staff. So I'm able to really cipher through the people that really need my support and take those clients and spend more time with my kids.
Well, I'm glad that you're, I'm glad that you're still having clinic hours, because I've referred several people to you, including the CEO of our company, Purium, Amy Venner. So, so let's talk about the cost of how it was before, when you weren't able to spend as much time with your children, to having more freedom now, and how that's impacting your life with your family, Carrie.
When you said, I just took a deep breath and I didn't even mean to. It just, like, that's what it's done for me. I feel like I can breathe. I feel like, I don't know, I feel hope again. And I'm not going to apologize for my emotions, because this is the real deal. This is how I'm processing. And I lived that hustler grind life. And when I hit Crown, I'm actually working like an entire, like, we need to get an entire product line that says retired hustler. Because I see so many people in this paradigm, so many healers at the complete burnout, and how can we help people heal when we're so exhausted? So what that's done for me is give me hope, give me space to breathe, give me space to take care of myself. I've actually been able to take several courses to increase my knowledge even more because I have time now. Like I just, the biology base camp with Zach Bush. I just, took a business course. I'm in another course coming up next week. And so I can do this now. I can continue to up level who I am because I have space to breathe and I have space to be with my kids. We're about to head out to Mexico for 2.5 weeks and work my business from the beach.
Wow.
Off grid. And when COVID hit, that was the biggest testament for me. Is I was out for the Purium convention on the Big Island, and then I was going over to Kauai for the other convention. And that's when the whole COVID hit, the lockdown hit. I got a notice in my email, and my husband said I got a notice that we couldn't practice, like the clinic couldn't operate. It was considered non-essential. And can we talk about that for a day? All non-essential but McDonald's is, but I won't go there. And so I was like, well, I have no reason to come back. I have no reason to really go. I had my baby with me. Ash was in my belly. Mila was on my belly, carrying her around. And so I stayed for over a month and just worked from the beach, and I was able to match my income. And so that's the power of this. And so my primary income source, which has been my clinic and my yoga and my retreats all through the last several years, is now flipping. And Purium is becoming my primary income source, and the clinic is becoming my savings source.
I love that. So I want to get a bit more granular with you, Ms. Drinkwine, because I want to hear, let's talk about from the path from builder to diamond. Can we talk about that a little bit? Because I know, that's there's a lot of people on this call right now where that's where they're at. Maybe they've reached consultant, maybe they're shooting for director, and maybe they're running for executive and diamond. So let's talk a little bit about how was that journey for you?
Yeah, I kind of was like a bull in a china shop. I really didn't know all the things. I didn't know anything. I just started knowing that I had something amazing on my hands, and I started sharing it. Like I actually didn't know how to log into the back office. When I hit executive, I didn't know I hit executive. Like I had no idea what was going on. I'm not going to lie. But I was sharing. I was in constant action. I was sharing. So I don't know what I did for consultant. I actually was in Mexico the day after like the 2 weeks after I signed up. So I hadn't even I had just gotten my kit. I hadn't even dove in. And I was leading a retreat in Mexico, and I got some of the retreat ladies on it. And I just shared with everyone authentically as much as I could. And so I think I went director, executive, diamond in 90 days. And if I would have known more about the business and really dove in, I probably could have gone further, but I really I kind of was just treading water, checking this thing out. But I continuously shared because I saw this detrimental need to remove chemical pesticides out of our bodies. And as a healer, I've worked for years with healing protocols, with herbalism, with colonics, with enemas, with clays, with charcoals, you name it, really not fun ways to get rid of glyphosate. And it's only semi-effective. And no one really wants to go through that. No one wants to go that route. And so when I found that we had a product that removes chemical pesticides out of our body, I was all in. So I'll tell you, the biggest thing is not just continuously sharing, but your posture around it, your belief around it, and your inner knowing that this is it. I keep telling people, I don't know how I found this unicorn. I call Purium a unicorn because it saves the people, it saves the planet, it redistributes wealth, it's for social justice, it's for million moms. And then I make money, and I get to work from the beach, and I get to be with my children, and I get to go to bed and wake up with more money in my back office. And I'm like, wow, so this is a unicorn.
Yeah, I love that. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say it like that. So, so you shared, and you shared often. Did you share mostly about your story, or what were you sharing?
Yeah, I shared my story a lot, that I went from being an organic plant-based eater and still being sick. And I went from, well, I healed my body from the ailments of inflammation and chronic disease and autoimmune. I was able to heal my body from all of that. But then there was this underlying degeneration. There was this underlying lack of energy. Like my skin didn't look as good as it does now. And I just had another baby. So, usually it should be reversing, not going the other way. So I think that it was just a continuation of sharing, of posture. And I want to backtrack because I think I forgot your exact question, Stephanie. Reroute me, please.
Oh, that's okay. Just in terms of what you were sharing and your own story or other people's stories. Because when you're new in Purium, oftentimes we share other people's stories, depending on who we're talking to. So I was just curious.
Yeah, so I didn't have my own story quite yet. What I shared was that I had found some, I talked about glyphosate, I talked about soil health. I really focused on the educational pieces that people didn't know. So education is power, knowledge is power. So I'd redirect people to some of Dr. Zach Bush's work, or I would, say like, this is what I learned. I actually learned that 1% of the earth's soil is deemed nutrient dense. Like that's frightening.
Right.
And so, making sure that like we are actually getting what we need in our bodies. So I would talk about that for 2 minutes on a live. I would talk about glyphosate for 2 minutes on a live. I would talk about, getting out of the paradigm that we're in and the way we work. Even though I wasn't there yet, I was like, I believe in this. I believe that there is another way. So I didn't really have my own story. And I actually didn't really tell other people's stories. I just, I would refer people like Sarah went from this to this, but I really just believed that like there's another way and I'm going to get it.
Mm-hmm. And did you lead with the business ever when you went live? I remember when you were going live way back when. Did you, because you're obviously an authority on a lot when it comes to health, but did you ever lead with the business? I'm curious to hear more about how you found your builders too.
I was not very good at leading with the business in the beginning. Now I kind of only lead with the business. So it will transform for you if you're brand new. The product is great because, it is the highest quality superfoods on the planet, like in my honest opinion, like it's as clean as it can get. So that's just like a given. That's just like, people get that. So once they understand that, then the business I think is our best. So in the beginning, I think I sprinkled like, hey, I'm integrating this in, and I wasn't super business forward. And then when I started being business forward, that's where my builders came from. So in the beginning, I enrolled a ton of people like really fast, and they're like all not active because I wasn't plugged in properly. I wasn't posturing with the business. I was leading with the product. And so they came in as product consumers, which should really be customers, not partners.
Yeah.
And now that I lead with the business, now I have builders. I have a diamond leg. I have executive legs. I have, all that is coming in. So I lead with the business. I onboard with the business. I train within 48 hours once they onboard. So it's just and you get better at this, you guys. Like you get better at as you go. And what we have is really incredible. And I really do think that the business is our best gift.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And so, will you also say a few words about ranking Blue Diamond while you were on maternity leave?
Oh my God. Most intense experience. I won't say ever because I've been through a lot. But it was wild. Like not only when you come part of this community, I just want to take a moment to get you to realize what you're about to step into if you're a visitor on this. Like you are stepping into a radical movement to change the world. This is not about lining your pockets. Yes, we get paid to change the world so that we have time to change the world, right? Most of us don't have time to change the world because we're tired and we're trying to pay our rent or our mortgage or raise our kids. So the payment is literally like for the mission. That's how I feel it. So I know that when you step into this alignment, you're going to get resistance and like the biggest inner transformation that's ever happened to you. So I always say, like, I partner with a superfood company and a self-transformation company. Like, so much self-transformation has happened. It has brought me to tears. People have perceived me wrong. People have loved me. You know, I have like, we won't even get into all that, but I can't tell you all of the inner shifting I've had to do to stay on this course, to stay on, like, I am the Million Mom movement. I believe in healing our kids. I believe in healing our soil. I believe in moms not suffering, bringing their kids to doctor after doctor. Moms come into this clinic and they're like, we've done everything. We've been to every gastro doctor. We've been to the Mayo Clinic. We've been everywhere, and they're still sick. And 2 weeks into a protocol with Purium, they're having whole poops and they're, you know, starting to clear up everything. And then, like, this is crazy. So yeah, I think that with that said, it's like, it's just a given that what we have is so incredibly beautiful. And how I went Blue Diamond in maternity leave was inner shifting. So I had I had almost Blue Diamond volume several times. And there was like this lurking background, like, I can't do that. It's not going to happen for me. My team's not showing up, like all these things. And so we have to do this work of receiving. Like, I am an abundant being. I am worthy of receiving this. My team is all here. They're all around me. And so you do have to get good at shifting your inner wounds, because a lot of my inner wounds were that people don't love me, people don't like me, I'm different, like I'm alone in this world. And these are like childhood wounds. And when people hear me say that now, sometimes they're like, what? You know, because I've changed so much. But it really was like, I lost some friends, I lost some clients when they came on this vision, because they couldn't see what we had as greatness and they wanted to judge it. And that was painful. So in that month of my maternity leave, I was going through this huge yo-yo. I was going through this space of like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, like I was like resting, because I really had a hard recovery. I had my 4th C-section. I really thought I was gonna push him out naturally. You know, my water broke on Sunday. I had him on Tuesday. I really, really thought like, this is it, I'm gonna do it. And then he was another C-section, and it was really devastating. And my body was really crushed. I couldn't walk without holding my guts up for the first 2 weeks. Like, I was wrapped in a faja. I couldn't hold my ligaments weren't holding up, and I really couldn't work. And so I cried a lot. Like I spent like the first probably 3 to 4 weeks of my maternity leave crying, because I felt so humbled and like, what is going on? Like, you know, and just 4 C-sections and 2 of them being really back to back was hard. And I kept being like, I need to work my business. I need to work my business. And I just couldn't bring myself to work my business. And my freaking team rallied. You know, they rallied, like all the work I had put in the months prior. I was doing in-person prospecting with my team every Monday, every Thursday, opening up my home, my backyard, doing lives, being consistent, and just sharing my vulnerability, sharing my story, sharing how I was on maternity leave and I was receiving. And it was literally like this whole tug of war the whole month, where I was like, oh my God, what if I'm so close to Blue Diamond and I just miss it because I didn't do more? And I kept playing that tape. And my husband's like, or you're going to make that happen. Stop talking about that, you know? And I was like, oh, okay. And I couldn't bring myself to show up for the first 2 weeks of the month. So I'm not kidding. I maybe worked 15 to 20 hours that whole month. And in the very final hours, I needed 5,000 points in 4 hours. That's how far away it still was. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Everything I believed is happening. Like, you know, and all my team members were like, I thought this person was a yes. And I had all these people in my funnel and now they're saying no. And I was like, whoa, this is me. I'm blocking my team with my own beliefs. So I had the crying baby, and I don't need to get into all that. We had a little rough integration since he was C-section and born sterile without proper bacteria and all that. It was a bit of a tough run. So I hand the screaming baby off to my husband. I walk into my room and I said, I'm going to go meditate because I am Blue Diamond. Just like I am the Million Mom movement, I am Blue Diamond. So I handed him off. And I walked into my room, I put on my blue silk kimono from Thailand, and I just like blew diamond chakras through my whole body. And I was like, they're all here for me. My whole team is here for me. They're all showing up. It's all coming in. And it's like 8 p.m. I mean, no joke, it's late. And I got out of that meditation and 2,000 points had come in. Like, what? How does that even happen? Like in 20 minutes? I was like, all of a sudden we're on this text feed and they're like, you need, I needed 5,000, then it was 3,500, then it was 2,198, then it was like 1,500, then it was 1,000. And then I went over. Like, so when you get out of your own way, you are limitless. And when you know, and when you posture yourself in that alignment of what I have is incredible and it is for you. And as soon as I got out of my way, my whole team was abundant too. Like all of a sudden they all showed up for me. Their orders came through. People that were going to wait ordered all of a sudden. So I really believe in the law of attraction and energy and all of that. Cause that moment was like, it brought me to tears. I slept like crap that night because I was so full of adrenaline. Right. But in that last minute of the hour, my executive lines firmed up. Everyone came through and it was just incredible. And I cried, and then it hadn't really sunk in yet. Like it hadn't really sunk in until about 2 weeks later when we get our bonus check. My commission from that week was crazy. We get paid every week. And my commission that week was like, wow, that was amazing. But then I was like having this really stressful day in the clinic and I didn't have a babysitter. My husband had these business meetings and I had to call on like a random friend on Facebook, like, can someone please come help me with the baby? And it just felt so icky. I was like passing the baby back and forth. He was crying. I was back at work way too fast because people need me back in my job. And I was like back to back and I was walking home and I was just like feeling like, I was like, this is not what I want. This is not what I want to do anymore. And at that moment, I get this email and I'm looking at my phone and listening to a podcast. I'm walking home from the clinic. I get this email that says like your Purium commission or whatever. And I was like, like it took me back. And I had to like just take a moment and like sit down on this bench I had just passed. And I was like doing the math. So I went back in my back office and I added up everything that had come in that weekly, that month, plus that bonus commission. And I was like, holy bleep. I just almost tripled my husband's income. And I worked 20 hours. And my husband worked 160 hours. He worked 160 hours last month. And he pays for our insurance and he makes what people would call a really good living. So I was like, that's when I saw the power, like really saw the power, because I had a very comfortable Green Diamond organization. I was like, oh yeah, I can spend money now. It's comfortable. But like when I saw that, I was like, the lights came on for me. I can retire my husband. We can live the way we want to. And that is when I really was like, this is incredible. And everybody needs what we have and it's all possible. And if you have inner resistance to network marketing, it's because you're not in alignment with the right company. You have to be in alignment with your beliefs, your values, the planet. It can't be a no on any side. So I think that my inner posturing is what my Blue Diamond run was about. It was my inner posturing, my inner shifting, my ability to receive. And I've never felt so wrapped in love in my entire life. So yeah, thanks team if you're on here.
I think there are. I've been seeing some chats here. So I want to open up this call to the field because I'm sure that we have some moms, maybe some dads, maybe some council members that would like to ask you some questions, Carrie. So yeah, if anyone would like to raise a hand, and council members, you can just come off mute, I think. Maybe Rachel, I'm not sure actually if how that works.
I get so nervous when I'm talking. I'm like warm now.
Your story's amazing. You're inspiring us all. And there was a question earlier. Hang on. We've got a question.
I saw it, Stephanie. It's from Christine Surla. who's my brand partner. Do you have any tips in building your business and brand partners, Carrie? Your tips.
Yeah, and building your business in general is about consistent action and authenticity. So you don't want to just talk about your Purium business all the time. It's a turnoff. You're going to become muted. No one, you could have the thing that somebody's looking for and they will walk away from it because it's a turnoff the way you're approaching it. You never spam people. That's my number one tip. We do not spam people. We listen to people. We hold space for people. This might not be, somebody might get anxiety by being on social media. They might get anxiety talking to people. This might not be the business for them. Like, honestly, even though we think like, how could this not be for somebody? How could we not save the planet? How could we not make money while we save the planet and save our bodies? You really have to listen to people's hearts. Like, and so the way I lead is, if you kind of check out my social media, you're welcome to. Wise Wellness Health is my Instagram. I'm just now working on prettying it up, but that's the beauty of it. Like, it's not pretty. It's just me showing up, and I'm getting like a lot of traction. So what I'm doing is showing up authentically. I show my kids, I show my travels, I show my hard days, I show my good days, and then I'll have a business forward post. And then I'll go with like 3 more, random things. And then I have maybe a product forward post. Like, I have you can scroll way down into last year, and I have all my kids have a mustache from the Power Shake. My baby, my other ones, and all these mamas reached out to me and were like, what is that? What are they drinking? I'm like, if you can't get your kids to eat fruits and vegetables, come chat. There's 18 servings in this one and 12 in this one, or whatever, and that was like just very authentic. It's like, yeah, here's a gift card. Check it out. Here's a gift card. You're just giving them a gift. That's all you're doing, is giving them a gift. So that's my number one for social media platform, is do not become an MLM bot or a Purium bot. Do not put Purium on your page. Don't say the word Purium. Don't put the products Purium on your page. You are your brand. It's just like any big Instagrammer you follow, or anybody that inspires you. Like Oprah Winfrey, for Christ's sakes, like, has things she recommends, right? Like, oh, this is my favorite blank. We refer by nature. It is part of our nature. I was just saying, I was on a call. Cynthia's on this call right now. Hi, Cynthia. I was just on a call with her, and I was like sharing, like, I was wearing these earrings and somebody asked me where I got them. And I was like, oh, this girl makes them in St. Paul. Here's her card. Here's her number. Like, in line at the grocery store, I'm giving out referrals. I had a baby on the front, a baby on the back. And they were like, what is that? And I was like, well, it's a double ergo baby, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me. And here's their website. I didn't get a referral for that, but we're constantly referring. So, understanding that, like, when you show up on social media, you're showing up as you, like wearing my ergo, holding my green juice, whatever it is, you're branding yourself, you're posturing yourself as a really unique human, and your vibe, your page is going to attract the people to you. And then you'll go for that business forward message here and there. You'll see mine, like, there's really not that many. If you look through, there's maybe 4 in the last year and a half, 5, but I go live a lot. I show up a lot, and people want to know what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So that's my number one social media tip. And also, don't post and pray. We've heard about that. I learned that from you. Like, don't be like, well, no one responded to my post. No one came out and said anything. Like, how often do you respond to a post? Like, put yourself in everyone else's positions. How often do you respond? People, I'll look at something and be like, wow, that looks really interesting, and then I'll just keep going. But so it's really about like connecting in with people. I look at all the people that liked my post, and I just say hi to them. Like, hey, how are you? You popped in my mind. And they did pop in my mind because they liked my post. And I just opened the door for asking people how they are. And that's how Rita Jean, who's my up team, signed me on, was asking how I was. That was it. How are you, mama? And now I'm her largest leg, right? So that's what this can do for you, is just connecting with people's hearts. Is this something that's in alignment for you? And so I always posture even when I'm sharing a business forward message, I really authentically share from my heart why I'm talking to that person. Like, you know what? I've been following your posts, and I saw that your yoga studio closed, and I saw this, and I just want to see how are you first? Like, so it's a lot of times I'll just ask for how they are. But if I'm going for the straight business forward, I'll say like, how are you? And like I'm experiencing several of the same things. Like the clinic was closed for a few months this year. All my retreats have been canceled. So if I didn't have Purium right now, we'd be in big trouble, like big trouble. And I've said, like, I found myself like in some serious trouble, and I have this other platform that's really supporting me. And I know you're so into health and well-being. You know, is this something that you'd be interested in taking a closer look at? Like, I just, you know, if not, no worries. Like, you're just like, this might be a good fit for you. I'm not sure if it is. So you never assume it's a fit for somebody. You know, I'm not sure if it's a good fit for you, but I do know that as a wellness entrepreneur, we are exhausted and we are overworking and we are burning the candle at both ends. And that's really how I reach out to people, is really connecting from that heart space, because I don't want to work with anyone that doesn't want to be here, and neither do you. So you don't want to be pulling anyone through the fast start, pulling anybody through training. Like, why aren't they showing up? Don't, fine. They don't want to show up, don't show up. But, you know, it's like really connecting with people's heart and like, is this for you? And when it's a yes, like on a cellular level, like it's like a physical download. And then we just keep mentoring each other. We keep supporting one another to show up in that beautiful way. And we all go through retraction. Every time we expand, our body goes, oh, that was awesome and scary. And then we get small again. And then like, you'll see this retraction. And I see it with my own team. The next month they don't re-rank, and then they, you know, blossom or whatever. So, you know, expansion followed by contraction, but how can we just keep in expansion? So that's my other words of advice for your team, is helping them stay in an expansive state through loving them, through supporting them, through showing up for them. Hold a Zoom for your team, you know, once a month to check in with their goals. And those that show up are the people that deserve your time. Is that helpful?
Very helpful. Yeah, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Who else would like to ask Carrie a question? We have got a lot of moms here, and maybe a few dads and other members of the Million Mom movement. Anyone else have a question for Carrie? You can raise your hand. Or Rachel, can they come off mute? I'm not even sure how we're doing it right now.
Yeah, I don't have any blocks right now. It's been pretty safe.
Yeah.
Anyone?
I would say that I'll give one more piece of advice is, you know, really like connecting in with your wellness professionals right now. Like your average mama is actually probably going to be one of your biggest rock stars, honestly. But right now is a powerful time to connect in with other wellness professionals, studio owners, like-minded entrepreneurs that are holding on to their clinics or holding on to their studios with a tight grip. Like, are we going to make it through this COVID thing? You know, maybe they've taken out a PPP loan or they've whatever, and they don't know how 2021 is going to look. You know, like my November retreat was canceled, and I thought for sure, like, oh, Thailand will happen in February. That was just canceled because we're still not open. So, you know, like if I didn't have Purium, if I didn't have this leg, I would be in some serious financial trouble. And there are, like we talked about, 865,000 women left the workforce in September. 865,000 women in the month of September, the largest female recession in history. And that is solely because either their jobs have been eliminated or they're working from home. Like my sister works from home. I've been trying to get her on this, don't you worry. But my sister works from home and she is constantly getting criticized by her boss. Like, is that your kid? Well, yes, it's her kid. She's working from home. Like, what do you expect? Like daycares aren't open. Like this is not a thing. And like in Minneapolis here, we're 100% homeschooling. So we have all these roles, all these hats, and all these women, like Leslie Zan mentioned on Tuesday, have been kind of forced to leave their job. And that hurts my heart because women are the healers of the world. We are the ones, nothing against men, but we are the nurturers, and we are the ones that are going to really show up with this mama lion energy.
Yeah.
in changing the planet. And so to see these women have to be in a home setting when they maybe don't want to be, if they do, awesome. But when they maybe don't want to be, or maybe they feel helpless and they don't know how they're going to get that next paycheck, or they made this decision because it's what was the best affordability for the family. And how we can come in and support these women with not only superfoods to help their mental state, but also create an income for them while they're home with their babies. And maybe then they can afford the childcare they want to go back to whatever, or however they want to show up. So in the month of September, there's 865,000 women in the United States. That's a lot of people. You'd probably know some of them.
Yeah, we
Really
do.
tapping in.
Yeah. So we just got to get bold and have those conversations like what I was talking about at the top of the call. So, Carrie, I want to thank you for your time. You've devoted an entire hour to us. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. There was a lot of inspiration that was dropped here today. Let's show her some love in the chat, you guys. Amazing. You are a blessing to this company. You're a blessing to this movement. And you're a blessing to me personally. So thank you so much for all that you give all the time. And I'm so glad to get the update that you've reduced your clinic hours and that you're going to Mexico for 2 weeks, girl. Like, that's #location freedom. All right. Go have an amazing time with your family. All right. We love you.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.
Yep. You are welcome. All right. I want to bring on, isn't that awesome, you guys? Wow. I want to bring on my fellow council member, Taz Ferreira, to talk about our petition. And then I'm going to piggyback on that because I've got some exciting news. So Taz, take it away.
Thank you, Stephanie. I didn't know how long it would have lasted, so I just put it in the chat. Well, this was an amazing call. Thank you so much, Carrie. I think we all learned a lot how this business can be built in all facets. And now we're done the call. How do we carry on this movement? And the Million Mom movement is so proud to be part of a petition. We started this petition. Well, Stephanie Dawn started this petition with General Mills, against General Mills, to make Cheerios organic. Okay, it has the highest parts per million of glyphosate that we know of. And this is a cereal that we all thought was so healthy. So please share this petition, share with your friends and family and everyone you care about and love. We need to make this petition huge. So far, last time I checked, we have 277 signatures. So please share it and then redirect everyone to the Fierce Friday calls. So that is how you can participate. So I'm Taz Ferreira from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Back to you, Stephanie.
Thank you so much, Taz. Hooray. Yeah. Share that petition with your friends. Have that be an introduction to getting connected to the Million Mom movement and coming to Fierce Fridays. So big news, y'all. So we're going back to our roots next Friday. Okay. We're going to be talking all about glyphosate. And I'm so excited to share that I have just gotten off of the phone with Dave Murphy, who is the executive director of Food Democracy Now! And he's the co-author, some of you might be aware of, this report that we share often here, Glyphosate, Unsafe on Any Plate. Dave is going to be coming on to talk with us about, so this report was created in 2016. And he and I were talking this morning, and he's going to give us an update about what has happened in the past 4 years between when that report was created, what happened after that report was published, and where we are today in 2020. So I cannot wait to bring you all back together next week to be with Dave Murphy, the executive director of Food Democracy Now! Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you so much for being a part of this movement. We could not do this without you, all right? We need every single one of you to be on board with the Million Mom movement and to be getting out of your comfort zones and having those conversations, to share what you've learned here today from Carrie, to share everything that you already know about glyphosate and beyond. What's going on with our food systems? We're the ones we've been waiting for, all right? Many blessings. Have a gorgeous weekend, and we'll see you in 1 week. Bye-bye.